to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman from the Troup County Archives. He is best known as the research archivist, and he is Mr. Lewis Powell. Lewis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you sit down with us, Lewis. And it's been quite a time, some time that has expired since we last sat down and talked.
Yes, indeed.
So we have a lot to catch up on today, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Well, before we do that, Lewis, you know, I'm a bow tie wearer myself. and as I was coming up, you were tying your bow tie, and I'm like, man, he's doing it without a mirror. So I commend you, and it is perfectly tied, I must say, too.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Lewis, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a mostly Troup County native. I moved here when I was about 3 or 4, and graduated from LaGrange High School and left town for a little while to go to school, and then eventually made my way back. So I'm now an employee of the Troup County Historical Society and Archives, and I am the research archivist there. Okay. So I get to deal with people who come in and have research questions, and I look at research requests, plus doing research and writing myself regarding local history and genealogy.
Wow. Okay. You know, the archives is an interesting place to gather history, to gather information. You know, I was there, and you helped me out a couple of weeks ago, and
yes,
I thank you for that.
Certainly.
You know, to remember how things were prior to the way they are now, and you guys are the ones that are responsible for kind of photographing,
yes,
you know, logging. Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Well, primarily what we do is we collect things that various people have throughout the community. People will give us all types of photographs and memorabilia from certain organizations, events, and things like that, and we file it away in our collections and make that available to researchers. Plus, we do some pulling together of information ourselves in terms of pulling information from newspapers and other periodicals, and researching this history and then writing about it.
Okay, all right. And talking about that, I know with the the Hamilton Road widening that has been slated for a number of years.
Yes.
And so I'm sure that you all have a lot of documentation of the Hamilton Road corridor.
Yes. And we've sent people up and down that street to take photographs of all of those buildings that were about to be lost. And we've looked into the history of those and recorded that for posterity.
Very good. All right, very good. Progress and change is coming, and it happens.
Yes.
And it's very good to have individuals like yourself and the Troup County Archives and the historical that captures that, so that we can go back and reminisce somewhat.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, now we, like I say, it's been a long time since we sat down, Lewis, but now you're here today to talk about some things that will be taking place that the community can get involved with.
Yes.
And I want to say ghost stories, but it's not ghost stories. It is actually what you call Strange LaGrange. Talk about that, if you don't mind.
That is my Strange LaGrange tour. I've been doing this since 2019.
Okay.
And it is a downtown ghost tour. And so I walk with a group of people throughout downtown, and we talk about the history of downtown as well as the history of haunted places and the history behind some of the hauntings here in LaGrange. Some of those very strange LaGrange stories. So we hit on a number of places, including the Archives building, City Hall here, and we also talk about places like Pretty Good Books and Venucci's and Taste of Lemon that also have paranormal activity.
Okay. You talk about some of the locations. I can remember being here in City Hall, a few evenings kind of after everybody had left. And,
yes.
And the elevator would just automatic ding, or doors would open.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
Well, we have that happen frequently at the archives. We have an elevator that tends to go up and down on its own, and the bell will ring, the doors will open, and there's nobody there. And this even happens when there may be one person in the building and you're sitting at your desk and you haven't called the elevator.
Right.
And we have had it looked at by the elevator repair people, and they supposedly have fixed it, so it's not supposed to do that, but it continues to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when people can come out and go on the Strange LaGrange tour.
Yes.
So they'll get an opportunity to go into some of these locations along the tour?
We don't really go into any of the locations besides the archives.
Okay.
The tour starts off at the archives, and we talk about the activity there, and we have had 2 paranormal investigations there, so we discuss that, and then we head outside, and none of the other places are usually open by the time we pass by.
Oh, okay. All right. So speaking of open, talk about when the tours are taking place and the duration of them, if you don't mind.
All right. The tours take place on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. and they start out from the archives, and they last for about 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very good. And is there a charge for?
Yes.
Okay.
We have tickets that are $15 for adults, $12 for students and seniors, and you can get those tickets either online at eventbrite.com, or you can go to the archives and buy them at the front desk. In the case of the Strange LaGrange tours, you can get them just prior to the tour.
Okay, all right, so just prior to the tour.
Yes.
And that'll be Friday evenings starting at 7.
Yes.
Okay, all right, and that runs through?
That runs through the end of November or Black Friday.
Okay, all right, very good. So Strange LaGrange. So
yes.
And who will be the moderator, narrator?
I'm the creator and guide.
Oh, okay, the creator and guide. All right.
Yes.
How did you select, outside of like just kind of knowing something, how did you come up with your list of locations, I guess?
Well, I am a lifelong student of ghost stories. I have been passionate about ghost stories since I was a kid, and growing up here, I have heard stories over the years and kept those in mind, and always thought, I'd like to do a ghost tour. And then eventually I got the chance with the Troup County Historical Society.
Okay.
So I was collecting stories as a Historical Society staff member.
Okay.
And I pulled all of those stories together along with the stories that I already knew about. And as the tour has progressed, I have also gotten a number of stories from guests on the tours.
Oh, okay.
And so I have pulled all of those together into one single great big tour.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay. Now, talking about tours, and as a small kid growing up, this was probably one of the places that you didn't want to go after dark. and as you get older, you be like, okay, what? There's no fear there. You also have some cemetery tours that are coming up too.
I'm also doing a tour of Hillview Cemetery.
Okay.
And this is a more historical tour. We don't really talk about ghost stories, but we're exploring the history of Hillview, a number of the people buried there, as well as taking a look at their graves, looking at funerary symbolism, and looking at burial practices.
Wow.
So that tour takes place on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Tickets for that are $20 for adults, and you can get those on Eventbrite. Unfortunately, because we start out at the cemetery, we can't sell tickets before the tour, but that actually starts out at Hillview Cemetery, and it only lasts about an hour because that's just about as much sunlight as we have starting at 7.
At 7, okay,
Yes.
very good. And in Hillview, just so people know, because I know a lot of times we go past that cemetery,
Right.
can you give a little bit of location where the Hillview?
Well, there are 3 major cemeteries located right in that vicinity, and Hillview is the oldest.
Okay.
If you're going north on New Franklin Road,
Okay.
it is the first cemetery that you will pass, the one with the very large decorative monuments. And once you pass Bacon Street, that's Shadow Lawn Cemetery beyond there.
I got you. Okay, very good. So some of the burial practices and things of that nature you guys will be talking about.
Yes.
So I guess you've researched all those things as
Yes,
well?
indeed.
Oh, okay. And they'll get a chance to hear about that on the tour?
Certainly,
Okay.
certainly.
Very good. And then too, again, these are events that everybody can come out and take part in. And let me ask you, what can people, what do you hope people take away from the tours that you're going to be offering here?
Well, I'm hoping with the Ghost Tour, people will walk away with an appreciation for local history and just the tremendous amount of history that has taken place here, but also an understanding that there is something else beyond this veil of existence. In terms of the cemetery tour, I'm hoping to really kind of introduce people to the cemetery. It's a cemetery that people, like you said, drive past on a daily basis, and most people don't really know all of that much about the cemetery.
Right.
So introducing people to the cemetery and the people buried there and all of the stories that exist in the cemetery.
Absolutely. Well, very good. Well, Lewis, I'm going to tell you, it's a pleasure to sit down with you, and it's exciting. You just pull people in. Great storytelling. As you were talking, I was thinking about the storytelling Azalea Festival. I'm sure you perhaps have participated in that in the past.
Yes,
too.
I'm actually now on the storytelling committee.
Okay, I can see why.
Yes.
I can see why.
Yes.
Well, Lewis, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show and being my guest today.
Well, thank
you. And I
you.
know that the people will come out, take advantage of the tours, and learn a little bit more about the history of some of the places that we know there's a little bit of paranormal going on in, okay?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lewis.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week coming up in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited about the fact that City Scenes have now become a part of City Week, because that way we get a chance to hear about all of the wonderful things that are taking place. And here to talk about those events that will be taking place, I have from Visit LaGrange, Miss Lynne Holie. Lynne, take it away.
Good morning, Alton. Thanks for having me. We are going to be talking about the events that are going to be occurring from October 17th through October 23rd, excuse me. So let's get started. On Tuesday the 18th, there will be a domestic violence candlelight vigil held at Lafayette Square beginning at 6:30 p.m. Did you know that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men experience severe physical violence by an intimate partner? I didn't. So please join in honoring survivors and remembering those who have lost their lives to domestic violence. Troup High School will be hosting a trunk or treat event on Thursday, the 20th of October in the Troup High School parking lot from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. There will be food trucks, music, games, face painting, and free candy for all kids in costume. Entry is $1 or 1 canned good for each participating treater. Proceeds go to support our local Salvation Army. Then the Lafayette Society for Performing Arts presents Twisted Tales of Poe, happening multiple nights this week. October 20th, 21st, and 22nd, it begins at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, the 23rd, it begins at 3 p.m. This is 4 stories from Edgar Allan Poe that will be told in the form of a staged radio drama, complete with cues for sound effects and music. The Lafayette Society for Performing Arts is located at 214 Bull Street. Hills and Dales is hosting an herbal tea workshop on Saturday the 22nd at 10 a.m. Join Dee Smith, former horticulture manager at Hills and Dales Estate, as she provides recipes for several different herbal teas that vary from refreshing to relaxing, and discusses the many other uses of common garden herbs. The cost is $30 per person. You may call 706-882-3242 or email info@hillsanddales.org to register. There are multiple fall festivals happening this weekend. Pay It Forward 2K15 will be hosting an all-inclusive fall festival for kids and adults, including those with special needs, happening on Saturday, the 22nd, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Boyd All-Inclusive Sports Complex at Lafayette Christian School, located at 1904 Hamilton Road. There will be food vendors, face painters, and a costume contest, along with a cakewalk and tons more fun that's perfect for the entire family. Spring Hill Baptist Church is hosting their fall festival on Saturday, the 22nd, from 5 until dark. There's free admission, hot dogs, games, cakewalk, train rides, and so much more. Spring Hill Baptist Church is located at 2239 Hammett Road. And lastly, LaGrange First United Methodist Church is hosting their free annual community fall festival on Sunday the 23rd from 4 until 6 p.m. Join in for a trunk or treat, games, inflatables, cakewalk, costume contest, a bicycle giveaway, food trucks, free popcorn, and more. LaGrange First United Methodist Church is located at 401 Broad Street. These are the events happening in LaGrange the week of October 17th through October 23rd. We hope you can get out, have fun, and stay safe.
Wow, Lynn, that's quite a lineup coming up there, isn't it?
I know. If you can't find a fall festival, you're in trouble.
In trouble, you're absolutely right. Well, thank you for always coming on and sharing that information with us. And hopefully people will come out and take full advantage of all those events, okay?
I think so. I think it'll be a great weekend for everybody.
Absolutely, I as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from the Troup County Archives. I had on Research Archivist Lewis Powell as he talked about the upcoming Strange LaGrange event. So make sure you get your ticket, come on out and enjoy the stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this week on City Week. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.